Look, thank you so much for having me. I'm Issy Chambury. I am founder of Beacon 10. It is an influencer marketing agency. We also have a management arm, so look after talent too.
Izzy, I hear great things. I hear incredible things in the grapevine. I hear awards are being dished out to Beacon 10. Tell me, we've been shortlisted.
That is so true. So really thrilled. I set up Beacon 10 in October. So not that long. We're not even 1 year in. Already we've been shortlisted for the ITV Be Creator Awards. It's effectively, for those that don't know about it, it's the Oscars of influencer marketing. I'll take
We love that.
So we've been shortlisted for Beauty Campaign of the Year for our work with L'Oreal, Shu Uemura Art of Hair, a campaign that we did at the beginning of the year.
Tell me what goes into creating a great campaign then, right? I think people think that influencers, you use them just for the clout, just for their audience, and there's no real like brand integration that comes into it. Can you walk me through the process of like, I want to use creators and influencers to create these like award-winning campaigns. How do I go about doing that?
It's a really good question, and I get so many emails in going, hang on, I've got this budget, that budget, what can I actually do? Even with a small budget, what's so brilliant about influencer marketing is you can really make an impact. It depends, actually, Raj. What do you need to achieve for your brand? If it's awareness,
It's a great question.
right, all the way down to do you need to sell products? So you'd approach it in a very different way. But the key thing is looking at your audience, partnering with the right content creators, coming up with a very cool creative. What is it that the creators are actually doing? It's the same with anything. If you're a photographer, videographer, giving them a fantastic brief that's going to align to your brand and letting them get on with it. They're the creatives. They're the ones that know their audience. Produce that fantastic content and just see it flourish. See those moments happen online.
Do you let the brand define what that creative should be, or should it actually come from the influencer creator?
That's it. You know what? There are so many different types of brief.
We were talking to Chloe. She was talking to me about how they give them a light brief, but they keep the creative in the hands of the creator and the influencers. Like, do you do something similar? Is that a best practice?
I think it's really important to not put words in creators' mouths. If you're expecting to just send someone a script and have the whole thing already formed, which happens, you know, sometimes you actually just need one little bit of content, then you're going a very different route. The best thing about influencer marketing is giving them the structure, right? So to your point, key things, what's the product? What are the USPs, for example? That's absolutely brilliant to tell your influencers, tell your creators what you want covered, but giving them a structure that they're allowed to actually come up with a creative, if that makes any sense. So brilliant, we want this product. We'd love you to talk about this maybe key moment or key feature, but see what they do.
Do you think that influencers and creators are like undervalued and underused today by brands? Like, one of the things that I see is that we still have these traditional campaigns, but more and more we have these moments in time where we're online, we're actively engaging with content on the web or a product when there could be some sort of like brand integration there. And in reality, creators have that opportunity to talk to us more. Do you see that happening more and more where brands don't use them for very specific campaigns, but it's an always on type of activation?
You know what? I think I've worked in influencer marketing for years now. And I think before we had a really different outlook on it. It was sort of a one piece. Okay, let's activate these influencers for this one moment.
We just switch them on and turn them off.
Which sounds great, but the wonderful thing about content creators is they have an engaged audience. Don't know about you, I've got my favorite group of creators that I just naturally look, what are they up to?
Who do you love on the platform at the moment?
Okay, it depends on the platform. I already said, if we're talking about LinkedIn, which that's the newest platform, I think, for B2B. You've got great content creators like Henry Hayes. I saw him, and I know we'll talk about AI and Mia and all of that later. But activating quite quickly and constantly. For me, on Instagram, most of the time, it's actually people quite similar to me in a similar stage of life. That's what I want. It's relatable. It's what are they doing day to day? Where are they going to eat? I'm based in London. Okay, are there any sort of secret spots that I've missed out on? That's really for me who I focus on. And I think that's a good point for brands to keep in mind because now they're seeing actually, if I just activate this one brilliant content creator, it does really well. It sort of goes great. But after that moment of impressions, where does it go? It's sort of a drop off
Who knows?
right?
It almost doesn't make sense. It's like we do it, it activates, and then it just proliferates into the ether. We never hear about it again. You very rarely hear about a campaign coming back to life later down the line, but you always talk about the creator, right? And they're almost a vehicle for whatever advertisement that you're pushing through them.
And this is exactly why ambassadors work, an always on approach, not only because it doesn't mean it can be a one hit wonder with a campaign, but actually having it always on, that consistency. We know if one content creator posts over and over again, engagement rate increases because the audience goes, hang on a second, they really like this product. Like back in the day, before even influencer marketing was a thing, creators would talk about their favorite products just naturally and openly. And it's exactly the same point, that authentic voice. And I hate using the word authentic because I think it's so overused, but it is really important. So I think that's why that ambassadorship always on really breeds authenticity and changes brand perception, I think, on a bigger scale.
Tell me the hypothesis of the agency, right? Like everyone and their mum is trying to start an agency of some kind. What is it that you do at yours that is so different and so special that allows for these like world-class campaigns?
I have worked for larger influencer marketing agencies before. The reason why I wanted to start Be Content was to really change the game. I think that in this industry now, content creators are entrepreneurs, they're business people, they've got multiple brands, they're working with multiple brands.
If you take up Grace Beverly as an example, right? Like not only the clothing brand, she now has the product and the core business, and it keeps growing and growing and growing. Like they do more, they have a more engaged audience than a typical tech product. They have a built-in subscriber base ready to go, and you could just instantly roll out new products as long as you've got the product market fit within that audience, right? And they do more in revenue a year than some tech startups.
And this is a force to be reckoned with, not reckoned with, but join that. The reason why Grace Beverly is such a successful business person is that transparency element. You understand that that is her brand. She's got an affinity to it and has started it. And it's the exact same reason why I started Be Content. Transparency, working smarter, not harder. A brand can come to us at Be Content with whatever the budget is, and we can activate at scale. The reason why we were shortlisted for ITVB Creator Awards is because it was a really small budget, but for L'Oreal, for Shoot and Art of Hair, we achieved the highest organic reach for a campaign they'd ever achieved to date.
Who's in contention with that particular award? Is it some of the bigger players as well?
I'm honestly, really, my jaw dropped when I was sent the link to it. I'm really, really proud that actually we're up against some large influence marketing agencies, the winners in the industry, right? A lot larger than Be Content that's just opened up shop.
We love an underdog.
So, and I think that that's the beauty right now in influencer marketing is if you can do the job really well, the industry really respects it. So that's why I started it, and it's going well so far.
Talk to me about the landscape of influencer at the moment. Like I always feel that we end up kind of cannibalizing the term influencer with creator and creator with influencer. Are they the same? Are they different? What are you seeing on the ground? How do they want to be called? What do they want to be called?
The creator economy, as most people are starting to or have already transitioned into referring to it, is built, I believe, because the influencer industry has really shifted. So it's gone from where brands maybe spent a tiny portion of their digital marketing spend on it to being a huge chunk. You mentioned JD, but they're just one of many that are really taking the bull by the horns. Unilever now have shifted so much spend. So huge conglomerates are outwardly coming out and saying, no, this is important. And the reason why I get this a lot. Why is that sort of terminology changing? Because the creator economy, we've got incredible organizations starting to try and legitimize it. So you've got the IMTB, the Influencer Marketing Trade Body, and really it's actually just about aligning, making sure it's best practices within advertising. So I believe that's why the shift is coming.
So that the advertising authority can make sure that when adverts are run, they can see that adverts are run and everyone's not being taken for granted.
It's true. And I think even when I started working in influencer marketing, prior to that, I was a retailer. So you sort of talk to people and say, oh, I'm going to go and work in influencer marketing. And everyone knew it was happening. But influencers, I think, still has maybe a slight dogma to it, that term. I think that's why it's also really brilliant to refer to them as creators. Even this year, I've worked with some, I would describe them more art directors. The content that they produced is so professional. It is to another level. It isn't necessarily someone just holding up a product on their iPhone. And I think that's also why we're seeing the shift. Exciting.
Yeah, I think that creative directors and art directors today are probably some of the most like sought after people next to like a PhD researcher, because they have this ability to storytell in a way that no one else understands and can quite literally rewire someone's brain with visuals over the course of you interacting with that brand, that product, etc. Right? Like when you talk to these incredible creators, is there trends and traits that you see in them that just make up a great creator?
Everyone is so different, and all of the categories that influencers sit in are very different. This week, I'm working on beauty briefs, a food brief, like so many different, and all of the creators that you need are different. I think, in all honesty, it is just having an eye for content and understanding what their audience is looking for, which sounds so simple, but I don't know if you've tested putting up any content on TikTok. It's a skill. And really,
Oh, wow. It's like hyper engaging. It's like you got to get everything in within the first 2 seconds. Otherwise, it doesn't work.
and even having that or having a product visible within the first couple of seconds and it also coming across in a natural way is completely brilliant. One of our creators that we've got on the books is Air Fryer Girl. And Abby.
Her name is Air Fryer Girl.
Air Fryer Girl UK. If you have a
Love
look,
that.
her reach just from her posts is 2.3 million. She's got about 1.2 mil followers. And in the last couple of weeks, she's been on Capital Breakfast, featured in the news. And it's because actually these content creators, we're not necessarily looking to top chefs anymore. We're looking for very, very niche creators that are experts in what they're posting in. And that is a perfect prime example of that. Oh, hang on, what am I going to make for dinner? I might not Google it. I might go, hang on, I've seen that specific creator and I'm going to go through their recipe.
It's like more and more, I'm using Topjaw as an example of like saving restaurants and then like making sure that I save them to my Google and then we'll go to those restaurants over a timeout, for example, that's like a gigantic multi-million-dollar brand that has been trusted for decades. But these guys on the internet that make videos just feel more like transparent about actually going to it and making cool content around it that makes me feel like I should be going to this restaurant and spending my time there.
And you've just hit the nail on the head why working with content creators is so brilliant. A brand then tapping in on that audience that just trusts that creator. It's just a recipe for absolute magic.
Do you feel that like examples of Goodwood and Wimbledon are just becoming like content creator saturated events where everything's teed up to make content rather than enjoy the art of the event?
Well, at the moment, even in the last few days, I posted about Mia Zello. We have to talk about it because an AI...
Did you know? Could you tell from the photos that she was real or not?
Well, she looks giant in comparison to everyone else. So I had someone commenting on it, going, hang on a second. If you look, incredibly beautiful creator from the offset, But I think what's so scary about AI content creators is even the discrepancies. Maybe hair is slightly out of place. That's included. There are creases in the clothing. But when you start looking, we know as humans when things don't really add up in front of us. And I think that's an example. But what's happened with that content creator is so interesting because if you imagine all of the activations at Wimbledon, I can think of a bunch just from the top of my head. So we always have Evian. Burberry were posting amazing lawns. But in the news, what everyone wants to talk about
Just her.
is just her. And the fact that she didn't even attend but is stealing the show. So I think it's really important to activate during these moments. And in times where Wimbledon is getting a lot of press, be also brilliant to see more activations focused, for example, on the women's Euros going on literally overrunning at the same time. But it's going to be a tricky one. I'm interested to see how things develop in the next year.
Do you look at an activation like that where someone's created an AI, implemented them at Wimbledon, and obviously there's someone behind that account building it? It's not happening. We hope it's not happening by itself. And there's just AGI somewhere just popping up at events online and not in real life. Do you look at it and think, actually, the creators that we work with can use some of these ideas, can like work with AI, cloning themselves as part of their strategy for creating content?
I think it's a really great tool, AI, for creative ideas, and that should be used by creators, right, to brainstorm. Especially a lot of them are sitting on their own, editing or coming up with concepts solo. So fantastic tool. I think what we're seeing now, especially from this piece of content that really stood out to me, was even though it's AI, a lot of her content is actually emotion driven. And this emotive content is speaking about burnout, about her experience as an influencer, which I find very interesting because in reality, they're trying to mimic being a human. And that's why we love influencers, content creators, is because we're tapping into them as a human and we can see ourselves in them. So when an AI is coming and mimicking it, it has very polarizing views, and we're seeing that in the news right now.
When you look forward 5-10 years, do you think this creator economy plays out into just what traditional advertisement was? There's just more of it because everything's an ad and everyone can be an ad? Or do you look at the world differently?
When I started in marketing, we're talking about POS, point of sale, down
Oh, God.
aisles, Clear channel, which is still used, still really important. Clear channel display ads at your bus stop. I think we're just shifting into a landscape instead of being on the ground, walking around. Now our phone is just right in front of us. So I think it's here to stay. DSP, for example, different types of display ads, it's just a new form of that. And I think it will continue to evolve, maybe become a little bit smarter, how we can track and measure. That's where I see it.
Is that still a weird world, a dark room that brands enter into, of the engagement metrics of like, what is the actual value that I have to put on this creator and pay out? Are they performance orientated? Is it just a flat fee? How does that world work?
I breathed just a sigh there because in reality, it really depends on the objective of a brand. So, for example, we spoke about this. If a brand's coming, hey, I'm launching in a specific country, I'm really just looking for eyes and my brand to be out there in market. Great. Okay. So we can look at really clear KPIs and objectives, impressions, how many eyes are on it, all the way down to then tracking if you're actually looking for a sale. So there are ways to then look through, check the data and see the click through and see sales uplift. So there is really robust way from a data play to measure it. And that's the exciting part. It's only going to get more structured. But from what do we pay content creators, it's still shaping, I think, the market and the industry on how, for me, I don't necessarily do a lot of affiliate marketing, which is where content creators get paid based on sales. For me, I think that they're creators and they should be paid on the content they've produced from the
Do you
offset.
see more and more brands in-housing creators? Like you look at a lot of, I think at Unilever, for example, right? They've in-housed some real creators in the past, and maybe now they're like outsourcing that work to real like creators on the outside who are actively creating organically versus internally. Do you see that brands are going to start doing that for employee purposes, right? It's like you have creators creating about the company, not just the brand, and giving that level of transparency.
I've been really lucky this year to be involved in a number of different events here in the UK and also in the US. I went to this point to the US, to Miami, and I was an ambassador for Possible, which is an incredible marketing event. Really recommend you have a look at it afterwards. And I attended as an ambassador purely to post on LinkedIn about it. And I'm in huge agreement with the market right now that actually, I don't know how much time you spend on LinkedIn. I probably spend a bit too much.
Too much time, way too much time. Yesterday was like, I clocked about 10 hours. It was good.
It's true, right? And I think the wonderful thing about LinkedIn is because it's trust, that the individuals posting on LinkedIn are experts in their field. And that's why I absolutely love to read that feed, what people are talking about. It's a lot closer to home. And the reason why I mentioned about Possible was because we're seeing that shift now. We've got actual LinkedIn influencers, got the likes of Sophie Miller, Pretty Little Marketer, for example, huge, really robust following, but also she's established a LinkedIn community. And I think this is a really good point to actually discuss, is where we've had influencers and having that amazing audience, we're now seeing a shift towards, okay, great posting it, but more kind of closed communities, like on LinkedIn, where it's more professional based and people are really going for that expertise as well.
I'm a big fan of the LinkedIn platform. I think it does a lot of good. It's also a terrible algorithm at the same time, but we have to get some of the LinkedIn people on and talk about that algorithm in the future. Like, talk to me about State of the Union, right? You're a business owner that runs an agency, but is also an influencer and creator in their own right. Like, how does that dynamic work? Do people come to you and then you create content like for activations like Possible, as well as internally about the company? And so it gives you the best of both worlds of, I understand what's going on because I do it myself.
I think so. So brands come directly, and I'm really proud to have been listed in the performance marketing world.
Oh God, of course, you're a power list.
Power
You
List
get those little
100.
top trading cards.
I know, it was so cool. And I saw some of them. I'm still desperate to get my hands on.
What is it? Tell me about the history of that. Like, how long has that existed for?
Oh, it's fantastic. Performance marketing world, what they do, and they change the theme every year. So I was lucky enough to be in it last year and this year. So I think I'm coined as the brand BFF. So you were asking, right? Brands coming and asking for really cool strategies that actually win. And that's the reason you put forward some examples to be in the power list. And I've worked now on their PMW awards as a judge, and will be a judge this year, and have just judged for the Effies. So it's one side of the fence where I work with brands, and I absolutely love doing that. There's nothing better than coming up with a strategy and then seeing the results after and drive success. But on the other side, the market is changing. I've just always posted on LinkedIn, and then suddenly in the last sort of year, I was lucky enough as well to go abroad with Virgin Voyages and posted on LinkedIn for that trip. So it is both sides of the fence, and I think it's important, being involved in the industry, to be posting yourself, to understand that sometimes, especially on LinkedIn, it's tumbleweed, or sometimes the post will completely take off. And that's a really great thing, to have empathy with our creators, because the algorithms are constantly changing and you need to keep up to date constantly.
Oh, it's so true. I mean, like, I wouldn't be great to be on a Virgin voyage right now, like middle of summer, out in the Caribbean or in the south of Spain, enjoying that from just posting on it. It's wild, the world we've come to, isn't it?
And what's going to happen next? Like, we see some incredible creators on LinkedIn, and I really don't think that brands are even utilizing that as a platform at all. It's at the moment the only real creators I see posting are for CRMs or SaaS platforms. So I'm interested in where that landscape is going to happen. Obviously, even Virgin Voyages we mentioned, but I think that will be the next frontier. And then obviously Snapchat coming into the fold with the Gen Z alpha audience too. It's constantly evolving, and that's why I think it's so exciting to work in influencer at the moment.
Just before we wrap, like looking forward way down the line as we talk, you've mentioned Gen Z and Gen Alpha, like a lot of them spend time on Snapchat as an example, right? Like I'm on the tube, I see these 14-year-old kids and they're communicating just via Snap. My cousins, family members are doing the same thing. You know, it's like kids these days have this like instant messaging in a way that we never had. Do you think that there's an opportunity there for creators today to start posting on those platforms, start creating on those platforms so that that long tail plays off down the line?
I think a huge point in industry right now is diversification. So for all content creators, what we're seeing is even if they were huge, and that's your point, there's never a bad time to start because there are so many platforms, right? But even now, content creators with a huge audience on Instagram, we're seeing them expand into having podcasts, newsletters, different products or digital products, closed groups. Then another platform that they're starting working on. So it's not just about social right now. It's looking from creators that are becoming entrepreneurs. I don't think when we were at school, you ever sat down and went, oh, I really want to be an influencer. But that's real right now in the world, that's an aspirational role. So I think that's why it's evolving so much.
Oh, Izzy, this has been an absolute pleasure. Before we wrap, you've got to humor me for a moment. Who are some of the best marketeers we've got to get on the show?
Best marketeers. You need to get Henry Hayes on it. Even his mock-up
Absolutely.
of Mia Zello, he absolutely makes me laugh, his post. So I would definitely recommend getting him on there. Also as a CMO of a business. Who else? I know that you have already interviewed with brilliant Sammy Parker. Who is looking after.
Oh, Sammy's going to be back on the show multiple times. We've got some stuff in the works. He knows that I just call on him and it's like, Sammy, you need a segment.
Absolutely brilliant. Who else do I think is doing a really great job? You know what? I would really recommend having a chat with Harry Clark, what he's doing with MadFest as a commercial director. And this year, I just thought it was absolutely fantastic. I've been in previous years to MadFest, and if people don't know what it is, it's a huge marketing event where they take over a large portion of Shoreditch, actually, the Truman Brewery in East London, and they have panels, lots of activations going on there. It had some heat over the past couple of years, but walking in there this year, having that networking space, and I think this is also reflected in marketing right now, we want that experiential moment. We want to meet people in real life because creators are real and marketers are real. So definitely drop Harry a message. I'll connect you both.
Those two. Absolutely. I think for the first time in a long time, marketing gets to be taken seriously. It's like, it's always been this like cost to a business that people just don't care about. And they look at it as like, it's just something that hits the bottom line, that doesn't move the top line in a way that it actively should. With technology becoming so easy to build and so easy to implement. I mean, easy in the sense of like anyone can come up with an idea. Now you have to figure out how to market it. That is always the most difficult thing. Izzy, this has been an absolute pleasure. We're going to have you back on irrespective, right? I'm looking forward to you winning the show and winning the award. And when you do, we're going to have you on for a party, all right?
Thanks so much. Really appreciate your support. Thanks for having me.